We're in business. Okay, we're in business. The meeting is now called to order. At this time, we will have an invocation and a pledge. As all stand. You are starting.
Every head bowed, every eye closed. Our Father, we come this evening thanking you for this great privilege that we enjoy as Americans in this great country and in this great state. We ask that you would guide our thoughts and our minds and all that we endeavor to do. We pray that you would help us, that we might be helpful to others as we endeavor to do the things that is right before God and man. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, excuse me. We're going to let everybody get comfy. Did everybody that needed a seat find a seat? I didn't know what the discussion was. Oh, okay. Good. All right. Once again, I'm so glad that all of you have chosen to be with us this evening. Just overall, we've had such a wonderful couple of weeks in the city of Crockett. Here's some awesome things that have gone forth. And we're just real excited, and we're grateful for all of the support that we've had for all of those activities. We've had musical festivals and all that good stuff, all the way down to the celebration of Juneteenth. So we're looking forward to even greater things. So thank you so much for coming, because we know that you care about our city. At this time, we'll have comments from the audience, and I'll go strictly in the order that they've been passed to me. Okay, at this point, we have Ruby Evans. To come to the podium, you have 3 minutes. There's a time limit on it. The time starts when you get to the podium. Were you going to speak?
No, I declined.
Okay, she declined. Thank you. Natrina Hicks. And then I will turn my phone on. That's my children. No respect for them. Okay, you're ready. We'll pass those out when you start. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, I am Natrina Hicks, Board Member of CDIDC. I come today to address the request made by Councilmember Caldwell to conduct a third-party forensic audit against CDIDC Board. A forensic audit means that there are allegations of fraud and embezzlement made against CDIDC by a select few. Joni Cluntz, her relatives, Diane Roan, Virginia Lewis, and other acquaintances who have been in an attempt to remove Mr. James Gentry from his position as Executive Director and disband the CDIDC system year of 2017. Joni Cluntz is still upset about her loss in 2019 election. So now Joni Cluntz, her relatives, and the group of us have implemented a tactic to continue to allege fraud and embezzlement against CDIDC. Joni Cluntz is one who have every intent to hinder the growth of our city by purposely gaslighting. Upon my research, CDIDC had audits conducted by Axel Rowley, certified public accountants who were selected by the City of Crockett and to audit the CDIDC for the years of 2017, 2018 under the term of ex-mayor Joni Cluntz, and years 2019 up to the current term Mayor Fisher. Audits were complete and brought before the City Council for approval and was accepted to be true and correct. This all means that monies for CDIDC in their possession from 2017 until present have been accounted for. If there is a need for a forensic audit, it will be to questioned the fiduciary responsibility of Joni Clumps during her tenure as mayor. Reason being, under her term as mayor, Joni Clumps and the city sold the state school property. The CEIDC was asked to financially assist the city with upgrades to make the state school marketable. So we did. In addition, CEIDC acquired a loan against this property. We, the CEIDC, still have a note on that state property. Joni Clumps was mayor of Crockett when the state school was sold. However, Joni Clumps nor the city of Crockett made no attempt to reimburse CEIDC up on receipt of funds after the bill of sale. Joni Clumps, during your tenure as mayor of the city of Crockett, what did you do with that money? Why was CEIDC not reimbursed of the approximately $1.4 million to pay off the loan we acquired on the behalf of the city of Crockett? So let us clearly see the error, in hopes that a resolution will be made by the council tonight to blot out all allegations made against CEIDC by Joni Clumps, Virginia Lewis, Diane Rowan, and her other constituents. But if not, I reserve the right to request that the mayor, council, and CEIDC further expand and resolve all allegations against CEIDC by the way of executive session, so that we as a city can move forward. If CEIDC is guilty of anything, we're guilty of trying to do our part.
Thank you. Okay, Charlie Harris. Thank you. Anthony Shuttleworth.
Mayor, city council members, I want to bring your attention to more possible violations of the CEIDC bylaws. Number one, the CEIDC bylaws section 3.03 states the Crockett City Council appoints directors of the CEIDC who must reside within the city limits of Crockett and may be removed at will by council without cause. It's your responsibility and duty, no one else. Number two, the practice of allowing CEIDC executive officers or board members to recommend potential board members should not be allowed to continue. How can a board member discipline or terminate a CEIDC employee if that employee selected them to sit on the board? Number three, nowhere in the bylaws does it state any executive director or CEIDC board member interviews or even may recommend a prospective board member. That clearly exceeds their authority. Number four, CEIDC bylaws do not require an application of any kind to be considered as a CEIDC board member. It is very simple. If it's not in the bylaws, don't do it. Number five, section 3.05, terms of office for board members states, two board members shall serve a one-year term. Three shall serve a two-year term of office. How many of the city board members have exceeded this time frame? Number six, city council, by routinely reappointing CEIDC board members and allowing executive directors and board members to participate in the process, you may be creating a self-perpetuating board in violation of the bylaws and perhaps local government code. Number seven, self-perpetuating boards are well known to be governance problems. For example, flying under the radar, exceeding your authority, and often violating laws and statutes. We ask you to cease this practice to protect yourself and the CEIDC. Council, you are the trunk of the city of Crockett's tree. You, personally and as a group, bear the weight of everything that occurred within the city's tree, including the CEIDC limb.
Thank
You
you.
may also
Thank you.
bear the weight of any possible consequences.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Opal Woodwright. Thank you. James Henry.
Good evening. I don't have too much to say though, but I remember, when you made mayor, the former mayor got up and walked out, Us as a town, we just need to come together after all this racism, black against white, time's out for that, kids getting killed in school, we all need to come together. All I know, Mr. Gentry, he did a lot for this community. He brought jobs, he brought the sawmill in here, about different jobs for our community. It's time out. I remember I came to a meeting, I don't come to meetings all the time. I came to a meeting about that. The same thing was going on. This man just did a lot for this community. Time out for the change. I went to school in 2001, I graduated in 2001. We had free lunch. Kids don't even have a free lunch no more. Crockett, it's time for us to wake up. Our kids are suffering. They don't even have a community outreach for them to go, for like a boys and girls club for them to have, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, you guys know. All we do is put it in God's hands, but time out is enough, let's come together, expand this community, and make it grow like Palestine. I go to other towns, they're expanding, man, they're growing, bringing in new jobs, new businesses, new places for people to eat, new hotels, let's build this community up. I know it's a lot of old money here, a lot of millionaires. But you can't take that with you when you die, so enough is enough, it's time for our community to come together. I know it ain't, but it's just wishful thinking, but we need to get off all this nonsense that's going on. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Cherie Shuttleworth. Oh, your hair?
For those classes, I spend most of my time doing it. Madam Mayor and members of the board, reviewing available financial records of the CEIDC, I have found hundreds of very questionable checks issued by CEDIC. It is very difficult to determine sources and uses of checks because of their record keeping. For example, I have found individuals and businesses receiving $500 to $1,000 checks, some receiving multiple checks, all drawn on CEIDC bank accounts, which is sales tax funded. I have only seen a small portion of the records requested. CEIDC appears to refuse to disclose any veritable documentation as to the purpose of checks, just not noting use on the checks is not sufficient. Another point, checks signed by any executive director prior to June of 2022, amendment to the bylaws is a direct violation of the CEIDC bylaws. Yes, CEIDC amended the bylaws, but took months to bring that attendance to City Council for approval. Council, CEIDC is a Type A EDC, period. According to Texas law, all EDCs are forbidden from providing gifts, donations, or endowments of sales tax records or proceeds to individuals, business without a performance agreement. It is a law. Any expenditures involving sales tax dollars are permissible economic development projects. I think every financial transaction by CEIDC should be examined closely by experts. This again points to the pattern of mismanagement and maybe even misappropriation of sales tax by CEIDC and appears to have been going on for years. At the end of the day, millions of state tax dollars spent by CEIDC should be questioned. Council, when you took the oath of office, you swore you would preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of Texas. It's time you step up to the oath you took.
Thank you. Sherrod Wood.
Council, I'm here to update you on the problems with the long-term liabilities of the CEIDC. Debt that is currently taking almost 50% of the allocated sales tax rebate. First, I've recently been made aware of an investigation of CEIDC conducted by the Attorney General of the state of Texas. To my knowledge, this investigation has not been closed. If this potentially illegal debt was not disclosed to the investigators, it must be done so immediately. CEIDC operates under your oversight. The long-term debt issued under the guise of a $1.5 million note, line of credit, whatever it's called, is hidden under expenses, and their debt has used the same source of collateral for all of their debt. That means two different issuances, the same collateral. This debt violates Securities and Exchange Commission and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board rules, and it is still not reported. The CEIDC's own bylaws state that any bond, debt, note, etc. meets the requirements, plus bond counsel, not city attorney opinion and approval. It also must receive Attorney General approval, which it did not. Ladies and gentlemen, even prior to Dodd-Frank, it should have been disclosed to the public that the total cost of handling a college building would be approximately $6 million. To my knowledge, this was never disclosed. Council, my advice is that you should make sure that CEIDC immediately reports and discloses all liabilities to the Texas Attorney General, Public Finance Division. You guys need to seek competent bond and disclosure counsel guidance. This is a very serious issue. It's in the best interest of CEIDC, the city, and the public. I would hope that you would secure a forensic audit, which has nothing to do with fraud or anything like that. It's just to get to the bottom and find out the truth. That's all. I do know that what I've just stated to you is correct because I checked the websites, went to the SEC, went to the Texas map, and it has not been disclosed. And there was no Attorney General approval. So it's up to you guys now.
Thank you. Virginia Lewis.
The CEIDC, according to the bylaws and the Texas Local Government Code, should be adhering to all bidding and procedure practices of the City of Crockett. CEIDC is a local government corporation, not a proprietary business. It must adhere to all governing codes and statutes. You cannot pick and choose which codes or law you choose to abide by. Records of bidding and other contracted practices have not been forthcoming, even though requested through public information requests. In addition, why is the CIDC not issued 1099s to all subcontractors, service providers as required by IRS? The deficiency was brought to the attention of both the CEIC Board of Directors by the auditors and has been a subject of controversy as stated in several official minutes of the CEIC Board of Directors. We expect better of our public institutions like the CEIC. They receive public funds as sales tax dollars and should account for every nickel they spend. CIDC must abide by the laws.
Thank you. Diane Rome.
I'm here to discuss the annual plan of
According to the bylaws of the Crockett Economic Development Corporation, point 3102, every year the board of directors is mandated to submit an economic development plan to the city of Crockett and council, including but not limited to your short and long-term objectives, your specific objectives, your programs that you want to do to achieve those objectives, specific use of the sales tax funding, limitation on the use of the sales tax funding, and any other required by the city council. Plans have been requested of the CDIDC through public information request, and no response has been received on the requesters. In my opinion, the city of Crockett should instruct the CID's board of directors and the administration to be forthcoming and respond to these requests. I have seen no record of such plan being submitted to the CIDC board of directors. This in addition to the budget submitted to the council. If the CIDC board of directors is not submitting such an economic development plan, they are possibly violating the bylaws of the CIDC and also the Texas Economic Development Act. CIDC board of directors should be instructed to adhere to all the sections of the bylaws.
Thank you. Craig Hopkins.
Mayor, council, with all due respect, I must notify you again of problems and perhaps violations of CDIDC bylaws against the Constitution for CDIDC. Under Section 702 of the CDIDC bylaws, it clearly states that CDIDC shall, not may, contract with the City of Crockett for the administration of its accounts, including accounts, deposits, expenditures, and other financial services. Allowing CDIDC to handle their own accounts, financial services, etc. is a direct violation of CDIDC bylaws and should be stopped now. Allowing CDIDC to deviate from GASB, another violation of CDIDC bylaws, and well may be violation of state codes. According to CDIDC contract with any other firm or person other than the city to administer the accounts, deposits, financial transactions is a direct violation of CDIDC bylaws. Under Section 802, CDIDC is to comply with all sections of the Texas Open Records Act and maintain records as set forth by state law and GASB. It appears CDIDC willfully violates both. Under Section 803, any city council member of the board of directors, or officer has the right to inspect all records of the CDIDC. You have the authority and the responsibility to inspect all records of the CDIDC and duty to shed light on any problems. Council, CDIDC must abide by their bylaws. You must regain control of all CDIDC records, finances, accounting, activities immediately. By not addressing problems with CDIDC and making real substantial changes, some may view the council as putting their stamp of approval on all CDIDC activities, regardless of any potential consequences, even if there are civil and/or criminal liabilities. It is time to do what is best for the city of Crockett, the CDIDC, and the taxpayers who fund that organization. And I would like to agree with the black guy that was up here a little while ago. It's time for this town to come together as one.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time,
Mayor, I want to say something. Okay. Mayor, we receive our packets and everything that they have said. There's nothing in our package about any of this that's being stated, nor have they presented council any documents based on what they're saying. Tired of hearing these lies. Go ahead.
okay. Did any council have anything else to say? If not.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I do.
okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is a tough decision for everybody here, you know. The young man back in the back, you know, stating we need to come together, and I agree with him, you know, but I know we're a tight-knit group here, and you know, but sometimes we have to make hard choices, and when you have citizens and taxpayers that are having questions about any form of our government, then us as council, we took that oath to come out here and do what's right and be transparent. So I think with the new allegations and everything that's been brought before us, I'm not saying they're true or false or anything.
Is this in relation to the forensic audit? Is this a generic statement?
It's in relations to the audit.
Okay, we have it on as an agenda item.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Mayor, that's one last
Yeah.
thing. I'll make it quick. Now, the only thing that none of them didn't say is that a majority of this stuff was under Tim Cook. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. What we do have, anything that's pertaining to the discussion as related to the forensic recommendation, we'll do that under the agenda item, which is number 6. Okay, so at this time, we're up to item number 1, approval of minutes, regular meetings. We should have a copy of the minutes.
Mayor, Council, I recommend that we approve our minutes as is.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor? Motion carries. Did you? Item number 2, Police Department Manpower and Criminal Incident Report for May 2022.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Chief Smith.
This is the Police Department Manpower Criminal Activity Report for May of 2022. We have a total of 13 officers who worked 2,560 hours, responded to 580 calls for service, investigated 10 traffic accidents, had 40 arrests, issued 230 traffic citations, completed 104 reports, responded to 38 alarm calls. 32 of those were false alarms, 6 were no false alarms. I'd also like to mention on the morning of May 25th, officers were dispatched to a local business in reference to a stolen truck. Once the officers arrived, they discovered that 2 unknown male subjects entered the premises and drove the truck through the gate. While we were investigating that, we received another call from another local business that those same 2 suspects in the stolen truck entered their business and stole over $30,000 worth of tools and electrical wire. Throughout the investigation, about a week later, the truck was recovered down in the Houston area. Officers with the department, once the vehicle got back to Crockett, they began processing the vehicle and literally digging through household garbage trash to see what they could find, see if they could find anything that would link them to a possible suspect. And they did. While digging through the trash, there was some documents recovered that led us back to the Houston area. Officers went down to that area to kind of shake the bushes, so to speak, and ended up identifying both subjects and recovering about $30,000 in stolen property from our city and from Walker County. I'd like to publicly commend Assistant Chief Fajardo for his work on the case and my Captain Blake Gates. They both worked really hard on that case. In a second case, just most recently on June 16th, during the early morning hours, the alarm at Tobacco Barn went off. Due to the officer's quick response, they located 2 of the suspects coming from the building. They ended up making contact with them, recovered between $10,000 to $15,000 worth of stolen tobacco, the tools that they used to burglarize the building, and ended up identifying them as a ring out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'd like to publicly commend Lieutenant Lonnie Lum and Officer Matthew Milliken for their work on that case. I'll entertain any questions y'all may have.
We're proud that you're getting the job done.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
Item number 3, Fire Department Monthly. Oh, he's returned from the fire.
Jason.
For the month of May, we had a total of 44 calls, 27 of those being in our city response area. There were 2 structure fires. We was able to make security attacks and access safe, what we consider a safe because they're making it
20 years.
And there were 17 in our
Oh,
If
excuse
y'all
me.
have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
So what are we looking like? Is it dry, getting really dry, or
It's
is?
getting there, we're
is-
probably gonna cut off our.
There it is,
Very
right there.
dry.
permits,
There it is, right there.
We're getting dry, so we advise people that don't have to, not necessarily the city, but the county also, please don't burn if you don't have to, it's getting dry pretty quick.
Appreciate the warning. Thank you. Okay, we're down to, up to business item number 4 and 5. Under 4, consider and approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crockett, Texas, determining that an area of the city contains conditions which are detrimental to the public's health, safety, and welfare of the community and constitutes a blighted area. Are those two going to be together? Okay, at this point, item number 4. The resolution. Wonder, is that when you were going to chair?
Good evening, Wanda Vance with Quayler Associates, the city's grant consultant. And both of these resolutions, the blight resolution and the resolution to submit a pre-application pertain to what's up on the screen. The city is proposing to submit an application for grant funds in the amount of $500,000 to reconstruct the sidewalks on Goliad for 3 blocks, 2 of those blocks being both sides of the street as up on the screen. And in order to submit that application, the city, this is within your downtown district, and the city has to have reason to do it, meaning that this area, you have to do the resolution, say it's blighted, and need repair for the health and safety of the public. The other resolution is simply stating that you do want to submit the application for the funds and giving the mayor and the city administrator authority to sign documents for that application.
Damn.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution for the mayor,
I'll second.
city administrator.
Okay, so moved in second, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. And number 5, consider and approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crockett, Texas, authorizing the submission of the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program application to the Texas Department of Agriculture for the Downtown Revitalization Program Fund, and authorizing the mayor and the city administrator to act as the city's authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. And that is a follow-up to the same one that she just covered.
Make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
It's been moved in second. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to item number 6. Discussion and action to have a third-party forensic audit of Crockett Economic and Industrial Development Corporation. Before we go into this, we're just kind of establish our little ground rules. We want to hear what everyone has to say, and we know that there are some levels to this, that even though at one point we might agree to have it, that there are so many other details that go with it. And so we're gonna have to kind of decide what kind, what type, how much, and all those details. So we might get to a point that if we can't, I know we don't have all the answers at this point about what the full extent of the forensic audit or whatever is gonna be recommended. So we'll kind of do it in layers. We'll start out with just a general discussion of what's wanted, and then we'll work our way down.
Could you please speak up? I can't hear.
Can't hear me again? Okay. I know, I thought they had me up loud today. Okay, one more time. There are going to be some ground rules set to how we're going to discuss this, and part of that discussion will be that we'll first have to decide what we're going to do, and then we're going to have to, I know tonight, we're not going to be able to do all of the full details, because when you talk forensic audit, you're talking 15 different types, and to narrow it down. So what we're going to ascertain or try to come to a consensus or whatever the vote is what you want to do. And then from there, we'll take the steps and see how much we can cover tonight. But as in terms of do we have the answers, no, we don't have all the details. City manager is not here to address a lot of that. And so in terms of costs and who's going to fit the bill and those kinds of things. So we'll just have a general discussion, and then we'll decide how much of it we want to vote on.
Mayor, I started.
Sure.
One of the things I want to say is that we have a city attorney, Mr. Bill Pemberton. And if you guys vote to this, you're saying Mr. Pemberton don't know what he's doing. He's a perfectionist. He look at every document that come through this city. Even Ms. Clunt know this. Everything that comes through the city, Mr. Pemberton has to look at it and make sure everything's all right. Also, I asked Axel and Rody to be here, who is the CPA and the auditor, the same one with the city. There's not been not one thing other than they talking about the checks, anything that they're speaking about for a forensic audit that says anything was done, anything that was wrong with economic development. Not one. Not one thing they reported, and not one thing Mr. Pemberton reported. And everybody up here know that the audit come to Mr. John, he look at it, he go to the Mr. Pemberton, he look at it, make sure everything all right, get back with Axel and Rody, who's here, make sure everything's okay. Then we come up here, every report, prior to you, sir, as well as you, y'all know that we have proved every last one of them. Now, how in the heck if something is wrong? All this is a lie, and y'all saying if you vote against it, you said Mr. Pemberton didn't know what he was doing. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Well, we've got several people that have a professional opinion and know exactly what they're looking at with these documents. And
We don't have
we
them.
are not professional accountants up here. And sometimes you have to rely on the professionals in that category to be able to get the right insight on what we're looking for, because if there's anything there, then we need to correct it, no matter what. That's our duty up here, is to correct anything. It doesn't matter who done it. I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes from years ago, you know, that's been done. But if it has been done, then let's get it corrected and get on the right track so that the public will be with us again. Because right now we've got half the city, you know, thinking that we're just not taking care of business and covering things up, and I don't want to be like that. I want to do what I was voted in to do, and you know, if it takes a forensic audit to do it just by a third-party, well-qualified outfit that nobody's tied to, then that's fine. That's what we need to do, you know, and that's what I'm recommending that we do tonight, you know, and that's what I want to make a motion on, you know.
Okay, well, we're not quite at the motion stage.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell, Mr. Jones, Mayor. I think the time has come as far as Crockett Industrial Economic Development that we take a deeper look at it. The public trust has been violated in a sense. An audit reveals what an entity is doing and making sure that it is on track with its goals. A forensic audit deals with the allegations or the beliefs that there is something illegal or wrong with that particular entity. I've been here in Crockett all 67 years, and I don't like division. I want to see us together, but in order for us to, for me, I'm one of 5. In order for me to be a part of okaying a forensic audit, it bothers me that in the past history of Crockett Industrial Economic Development, that no type of forensic audit has ever been ordered. There are directors, and some of you very well know, that left under suspicion. They're gone off the scene now. And now we want a forensic audit for this entity under the current administration. Before I would ever agree to a forensic audit, it will be attached to beginning that audit before James Gentry came to take that position. I think that in the good of the city and this particular entity, that it would be wise to go back and take a look not only at James Gentry, but Flint Brent, Tom Lambert, as well as Tim Cup, who along with Gentry has served the longest. I think in fairness to him, and in fairness to the city and its citizens, and in fairness to Crockett Economic Industrial Development, I think that if we do one, then unless we look like it is a racial thing, and I know that it's not, but then we should also include all the others that has served in this entity at the times that I indicated. And so I'm for, and I believe that if everything has been above board under this current administration and in the previous administrations, that all will be well. And a forensic audit will lay that out plainly for everybody to see. And so that's my take. If I vote for a forensic audit, it must be coupled with that audit going back, not just this current administration, but in fairness to Mr. Gentry, let's go back and visit all of the rest of them that have served out there and see exactly what was going on. I'm not talking about from the beginning because that's not practical, but we can go all the way back to Tim Cup. Let's start there and work our way through all of them and see exactly what's been going on. I think that would be fair to all parties.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's look at it all.
100%.
And now the technical part of it.
Yeah, I
With
need,
that.
I need to
Oh, I'm
speak.
sorry.
I'm listening to it, what y'all saying. Everybody got a right to own opinion. But I also say that neither one of y'all have received no documents. You're going off what somebody is saying, and you don't have nothing to back that up. Period. What are documents? What did they present us? They came up here and spoke, but they ain't brought nothing. Now, Mr. Jackson said go back to Tim Cup, but they need to go back further than that.
Okay. Yeah.
They need to go back further than that. At the beginning, I'm not talking about, well, you got Mr. Harold Dean, you got Hunter Hilburn, you got Eric Winter. So if you're gonna look at the whole thing. But we all know that they never said these names. All they tied to Gentry, but this stuff happened with Tim Cup. Axon Road, will you please stand up, please?
I'm sorry.
Stand up, please. Miss Axon Road.
No,
Miss Molly, I'm sorry. Stand
She's
up.
not, I mean, we're not gonna bring.
No,
you
I'm
with
just
us.
want her to stand up. Let her know that she's here.
Okay.
Out of all of these reports, every last one of us approved, there's not one thing from Axon Road that said anything was wrong. So y'all saying Axon Road, you saying Axon Road is lying, and you saying Mr. Pemberton is lying on what he did. That's what,
Okay.
let me finish, they talk, I'm not through.
Okay, well, what I'm saying, the name and the accusation is not.
It's not no accusation, it's the truth.
Okay.
It's not accusation. We all voted when Mr. Pemberton brought this stuff, I mean, not Mr. Pemberton, he looked at everything, and then there it is.
Okay.
I think if you would allow me, Mr. Jones, I think what we need to understand is the difference between a standard audit that we do annually and a forensic audit.
Mr. Jackson, all due respect, you
forensic-
approved it. You approved every last one of them,
Okay.
along with everybody else.
All right, let me finish.
You approved it.
Excuse me,
could I
we're going to
finish?
speak one at a time, please.
We may disagree, but we can respect each other. Yeah.
Ask what
A
the documents.
a forensic audit has to deal with many aspects of an entity, and one of those is when there is a notion, an idea that something illegal had. The audits that we've been looking at, Darrell, has not looked at the entity from that perspective.
Ever since the existence and council, Mr. Pemberton has been the attorney. Mr. Pemberton has looked at every document, has every sign off on it. So y'all saying Mr. Pemberton is wrong?
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised he quit the city.
Okay, one of the
For
things
these lies.
one of the things that's been, it's the point of an audit is the check. And what Councilman Jackson was saying is that we've had we've had the audit, but you only do you pull out of a section and you review it. You don't review and you don't touch every area. All you do is pull out a section. And what I think the council is saying in terms of looking at it, a forensic is different. But a consideration that you have to understand with the forensic is the cost of a forensic and what type of forensic, whether you want a procedure, whether you want a financial. We're not going to open it up to the floor right now, but I appreciate what you're saying. But what we're going to have to decide, for every year you go back, it's a price tag attached to it in terms, but do we need to look a thorough? We should have a thorough, but what I'm saying, what we don't have at this point is, I guess, financially, I mean, you can agree to an audit, but you're still going to have to kind of agree to what you want, or you can agree to get the information and have it presented. You know, the details.
The revenue has to come from somewhere
Yeah, but
to do it.
yeah, you have to, it's really a lot. I mean, I did do a little research. If I looked through 2 videos and saw how much it was, just at a glimpse, and I'm not that deep into it, that part of it. I'm saying that we're going to have, we can agree to a forensic, but you're going to have some guidance on what that needs to be in there. Because you can look at 1,000 papers, if you really don't have an end in mind, expectation of what you're going to be looking for, you're kind of just going to be going down a rabbit hole. And it's an expensive rabbit hole. It costs from $200 for a light one, anywhere to $500 an hour. And you're talking many, many days, not hours. So what I think the consensus almost has to be tonight, where we can handle at this point, is whether the council wants to agree on a forensic investigation, and then need to come back and script out what you expect, what it's going to cover, and who's going to foot the bill. I mean, those are going to be the critical things. You can want to go back really deep, but can you afford to go back in all areas? If it's one area that you're prepared, but we're talking, just conversation starts at about $3 grand, and then you're up to 100,000. That's when you talk each years and how many years. So what I think, and I understand what everybody's saying at this point, that what you really probably need to agree, do you want a forensic investigation? And that's one section, part of it. And then the next part would be to come back and decide what you want it to be, will be a second layer. Because I don't think tonight we have the expertise or the information to know what we really want and what we need to include in that and the range that we want to do. But do you want to have it? That's a choice that the council can make, and then you can move to have the details added at a later. Put a committee together.
The way I look at it, the allegations are kind of broad, very broad across the spectrum, and it'd be kind of hard to just pick and choose a few items here and there, because if that's all they're going to look at, then we're going to keep what's messed up in there, and we can't. If there's something messed up, we don't need to keep it there. We need to we need to fix it.
It
you
has
know?
nothing to do with the detail. What I'm saying,
Yeah.
what I'm proposing is,
Mhm.
if you're gonna have a forensic audit,
Right.
fine. But you're still gonna have to put some guidelines and details to what it should be. Forensic doesn't mean that you can look at 1,000 papers and still not address the issues that you're concerned with.
Yeah.
And that's why I said you're gonna need a level of expertise to come in and detail, because it's literally, like I said, I looked at 15 different type of forensics investigation just tied to one area. So what I'm proposing is that if you want a forensic audit, it's fine, you can vote on that, but I don't think we have the expertise right now to decide the details of it. And I think that maybe it needs to be a call meeting to work out the details, what you want, and how much you're willing to invest in it, what cost you want it to go to. But I don't know how you feel. It's up to the council to decide what they want to do tonight, but I know that you can say that part, but you don't have enough details to know what you're really going to accomplish.
I think the city attorney needs to be involved with that, and he can direct us in direction if that was to be.
Okay, well.
But I'm not voting for it.
Okay, well, what it is, if you want to make the motion that you want a forensic investigation, that's step one. And then you can come back, the motion can include, we want a forensic investigation, and we will address the details at the next meeting or whenever.
I make a motion not approve.
I'm sorry.
Make a motion not to approve.
Okay,
Been no
well,
motion.
okay, it's not,
No, I make a motion that the City of Crockett begin the process of
You can just
securing
say no more
services
motion.
of
I'm sorry.
external third
Hold-
party.
Hold up, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Mr. He was, because it wasn't a motion, what we were discussing, to have or not to have. And your vote is important, so you can go ahead if you, were you prepared to make a motion?
I am.
Okay.
I just said I was prepared to make a motion.
Okay, you said you were not to have one.
That is correct.
That'll be the vote on it.
Yeah, that's just the vote.
I just make the motion.
Okay, well, make your motion. then.
Motion not approve.
Okay, no, it's not to approve.
The
I mean,
forensic audit because
Okay, the motion needs to say not a.
I just said, motion not to approve the forensic audit because they have not provided any evidence, no documents. All they made is just talk. And y'all make an assumption what somebody said, and neither one of y'all have no documents.
Okay.
Period.
Motion-
That's ridiculous.
Shorten it down. Your motion is that you're recommending that we not have a forensic audit.
We don't have no documents on
Okay,
hand.
Not detail, the motion, just the flat motion. Your motion is, make just with the sentence.
I make the motion that we do not have the documents to prove anything for a forensic audit unless we see actual facts that
Okay.
we have read ourselves. So not approve the forensic
Okay,
audit.
now, statement. I'm just trying to get it so you can write it as
Bottom line, not to approve. That's it.
the forensic.
The forensic audit. That's what I
Thank
just
you.
said. Yes.
Okay.
But,
Okay, wait,
I did make the
it's a
motion.
motion on the floor.
okay,
I did.
but,
And you can agree, or you can disagree, or you can let it die for lack of a second. It's
But-
a motion on the floor, and he said he recommend that we not have approved a forensic audit. It can stay on the floor, it can die for lack of a second, or you can vote on it. That's all you can do at this point. Okay, can we get a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Okay, it's back open, the floor is back open. We
All
can
right,
have
I'll
a-
make a motion. The
Before
City
you
of
make
Crockett.
that motion,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Caldwell, let me emphasize again. Mr. Jones speaks about documents. Well, the people who elected us have concerns. I mean, that's enough documents for me. The people, a government of the people and by the people. I'm not here because I decided I wanted to sit on this council. The people elected me to come and serve here. They may not elect me again, but that's fine too. But they did elect me on this term. And so I think it is a duty of government to listen to the people and to do that thing which is right. And that's what I'm about. I don't answer to people who have their agendas. That's why I don't have them calling me and prepping me for whatever it is that they want. That's not in line with good and right and just. And then I don't have any agendas myself. And so if the people have a genuine concern, even though I'm well aware that I call them the shutdown crew, who wants to shut down Crockett Industrial, oh yeah, for you newcomers who don't know, wants to shut it down. And I think you're pretty smart and educated people, and you understand why. It has nothing to do with a whole lot of the financial part of it, but it's the makeup of it, if I might put it that way. But even in spite of that, if the people have a concern, then let's do something with that concern. A forensic audit, as I earlier indicated, is to look at an entity or a company with a different lens, being to see if there's anything that's illegal or wrong that has happened. But I will agree with this council on one condition, that this current administration is not the only one to be looked at. We look at them all, and they all get treated the same. Are you with me? Yes. I think that's fair, because otherwise it'd be just a witch hunt.
Of course.
Otherwise, it's just to be a racial thing. It's, oh, don't pull the race card. Well, let's just be real about it. Our whole nation has a race problem. Can we all agree on that? Yes. Okay. And so if we're gonna do a forensic audit, let's do one, and make sure the records reflect that if we do a forensic audit, it goes beyond this current administration, and it visits all the rest of them. So I make a motion that we go ahead and have the forensic audit, and it will include the current administration, the previous administration, and the one before that. Now the council has the business of finding the finances to pay for it. We can want a whole lot of things, and some things are just right and true to have, but it has to be paid for. And so this evening, we just make a motion to have it, and then the follow-up behind it, all the other details and matters that has to be put in place.
I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and second. All in favor? Motion carries. And with that,
Mayor, I got something else to add at the end of this. Another thing we need to look at the city employees. We got city employees that work 25, some 30 years, they make less than a little over $11 an hour.
okay, that's because that's not an agenda.
No, I just want to make, okay, that's fine.
Okay,
That's fine.
yeah, you can put it on the agenda.
I like for it to be put on the agenda. Discuss the city employees.
Because
And-
it's personnel.
Right, and take action.
Well, we'll put it on the agenda.
And take action at that time.
Okay, was there any other?
I'll make a motion with adjourn.
Okay.
Where's Jackson? I wasn't mad at you. I was just mad at the folks for saying this stuff. I'm cool. Yeah. Hell, that's not far. I don't want you at all. Stay deep. Go back. Yes, ma'am. How you doing, Miss Wood?